So how's everybody doing out there? Well, welcome to day 3 of Corona Online School. Hopefully everybody had a good weekend and is ready to dive back in and learn some more math. So today we're starting into set theory, which is really, we're going to use it for teaching addition, subtraction, some things like that. So even though we're going to go into a lot more detail of set theory, you wouldn't necessarily be teaching a lot of this stuff to elementary school kids. Like maybe middle school might learn something like this, but again, we're going to be using it as a tool to represent how to do addition and things like that. So that's kind of why we're doing the set theory. Again, we'll go into it a little bit more detail than we probably need, but that's okay. So if you notice, like I'm actually on an assignment page, so we're actually going to be starting with assignment 2. So we're not going to start with the classwork right now. I actually want you to work through assignment 2. And as we go through this assignment, like you'll turn it in and stuff like that, so it will be graded. You'll actually learn some of the definitions, and then after we're done with assignment 2, then we'll go back, actually download the classwork packet, do the definitions and stuff like that, so we'll get the formal definitions. But we should actually learn them and get to see how they work by actually doing this activity. You also may be asking, why is there an assignment 2 and there's no assignment 1? So assignment 1 I'm going to wait a little bit on and give it to you. So it's a thing that's going to walk us through some Common Core stuff and help us find what we're going to be learning in this course through Common Core. But I figure this first week we've been so busy with just getting used to online schooling and things like that that I'm going to push it off a little bit and wait. So I hope no one's super disappointed about that or anything. But so at the moment, if you don't have a printer, don't worry about printing this out. You can just write everything on notebook paper. If you do have a printer, print this out. You will want to go to the link at the very top, this showdoor.org interactive activity shape sorter, and it should look like this when you go there. And so I'm going to walk you through the setup part of it, and once we kind of get the setup, then you should be able to kind of it kind of walks you through how to do the rest of it on your own. So let me go back to the other page real quick here. And so what it says is, name the sizes that are represented, the colors that are represented, and the shapes that are represented. So if we look over on the left, we've got a bunch of colors. So we've got red, blue, and yellow. So let's go back and fill that in real quick. Well, colors is the middle one, but that's okay. So we had red, blue, and yellow. And then the sizes, if you notice, there's kind of 2 different sizes. So there's just big and small, in this case, is what we're going to call them. Oops. So we've got big sizes and small sizes. And then the shapes that are represented, so we've got squares, we've got circles, we've got triangles, and it looks like hexagons in this case. So the 6-sided ones are hexagons. So we got triangles, squares, circles, hexagons. I think that's it. I didn't miss any, did I? Let's see. Nope, that's all of them. Good. All right. So now, what it wants us to do is we don't want to have to write that down every single time. So what we're going to do is we're going to abbreviate these pieces. So for example, a big red triangle, we're going to call capital B for big, little r for the color, and then capital T for the shape. So in this case, BYS would mean big yellow square. SBC would mean small blue circle. BBH would mean big blue. Oops, what in the world? Can't even spell. Huh. I'll get ready to do it again. Blue hexagon. And then SYT is small yellow triangle. All right. So we're going to use these abbreviations when we're actually going through and talking about the different sets and things like that. All right. So the next piece, this is kind of the setup for the problem. So it says use a two-loop Venn diagram and create rules for circle 1 and circle 2 as follow. Yellow pieces in circle 1 and square pieces in circle 2. So what we want is we want our Venn diagram to look like the picture that I'm showing here. So we want the two circles that are overlapping each other. So if I go back to here, so notice I've just got one circle at the moment. So I need to click on the double circle, so that way I've got the overlapping. And now, just to the right, it says choose a rule. So in this case, we wanted yellow in circle 1, and we wanted squares in circle 2. So let me verify that that's right. Let's see, so yellow in circle 1, squares in circle 2, perfect. So now the goal is, what we want to do is actually drag the pieces into the different sections. And so the nice thing is, the way this program works is you can't drag something in there that doesn't work. So like for in this case, yellow is circle 1. So if I grab this blue piece and try to put it in circle 1, it's not going to let me. It's going to say, what are you doing, dude? That doesn't work. So what I want to do is grab these yellow ones. And so notice this one, even though this little guy is yellow, why is it not letting me put it in circle 1? Oh, because it's a square, so it also belongs in circle 2. So let me put it over here. Well, wait a second. It's not letting me put it there either. So the problem is that little piece that's in the middle, that overlapping pieces, that's the places where it's in circle 1 and circle 2 at the same time. So any yellow square is only going to work in that center part. So let's go ahead and put those yellow squares in there. Let me go ahead and drag all my other yellow ones in. Oops. Oh well. And then I want squares in circle 2. And so technically, these other places have a spot that they go. And so like this big rectangle on the outside, when we talk about definitions later, it's going to be called the universal set. So anything that's not in circle 1 or circle 2 still is part of the set. So these can actually live out here. So if you want, just drag these here, because we are going to use these later for one of the examples. So we don't want to forget that they're there. So let's put them out there outside the circles in this universal set. And look at that, I got a great job for doing an awesome job. So way to go me. So now, if we go back to the paper, after we've kind of drawn these in here, the goal is we want to abbreviate them, or if you want to like actually color them in, feel free. You can actually color the shapes in and stuff like that. Then you're going to go through and answer some questions about each of these different things. So let the pieces in circle 1 be called set A. Describe the pieces using a complete sentence. We're going to write them with a comma, using their abbreviation, stuff like that. So try that on your own. Like I said, I'm not going to I'll be around to answer any questions or stuff like that. But for the most part, I want you guys to just kind of do this on your own, see how you do. At this point, I am going to jump to the packet real quick. So if you want, you can pause the video, finish this assignment 2, do the definitions and come back. Or if you want to jot this down on the packet real quick and then finish off the assignment, go ahead. But I figured while I was doing it, I might as well just do one recording instead of another one that's small. So, whoops, went to the wrong thing. So our classwork packet for today is going to look like this. And as you can see, there's lots of definitions, and they're all on the PowerPoint slides, so just take a look at those. So what I did want to talk about is 3 ways to describe sets, and so how we can actually notate them. So in this case, our set above is the set N, and it contains the numbers 1, 2, and 3. So if I were to write this in words, I would pretty much just write down exactly what I said. So the set N contains the numbers 1, 2, and 3. And so that's all they mean by a word description of a set. So brace notation is actually what you're going to practice in the packet. So brace notation just means take a little curly bracket and then just list them. So 1, 2, 3. And the thing to remember about sets, that order doesn't actually matter. So if someone for some reason wrote this, means the same thing. If you wrote this, means the same thing. So typically I write them lowest to highest or alphabetical, but you don't have to. Like, that's the cool thing about sets. Any of those are correct. You don't have to worry about like the order of them. As long as you don't forget anything, that's really the main thing. You don't want to forget any of the elements, but otherwise, like, you can write them in any order you want. And then set builder notation, it's kind of the weirdest and the most confusing, and you'll see it on the slide. So it starts off kind of like the brace notation, but then what we do is we say X, and then we use this little weird E, and then N. So in this case, what this actually says is X is an element of N. So all of this stuff is what that little symbol stands for. So that little sideways little E just means is an element of. So X is an element of N. And then the line actually means such that. And now we describe what the numbers actually look like. So in this case, now I want to be careful because I don't want to use like inequalities, because inequalities would mean that it would contain like fractions and stuff like that. So I only want it to contain the whole numbers 1, 2, and 3. It doesn't contain like 1.5, 2.5, things like that. It doesn't contain fractions. So I don't want to use inequalities because that wouldn't be exactly right. So in this case, X is an element of N such that it is one, two, three. So it'll make more sense like if we have like a set that's longer and stuff, but that's kind of what we're getting at with this set builder notation. A little bit fancier looking, but it also has a lot of symbols. And so when you do finish up assignment 2, again, if you have any questions, let me know. I'll be around all day. There are a couple practice problems for you guys to work on in this packet. And I'll have some kind of collaboration for you guys. I'm not exactly sure what it is yet, but you will find out tomorrow. So again, I'll be around all day. Some of this stuff can be a little tricky, but if you do have questions, don't hesitate to ask. And I'll see you tomorrow. Good luck.